Welcome back, everyone. Before we dive in, make sure you drop your thoughts and the lessons you took from this story in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. My name is Terrell Johnson. I am 34 years old, and I have learned that a person can destroy years of effort with one sentence. I spent 4 years building a relationship with my in-laws. My wife destroyed it in under 10 seconds. It was a Sunday afternoon in July. Houston heat pressed down on the neighborhood, hovering a little over 100 degrees, the kind of heat that made the air shimmer above the pavement. I had been at Charles and Denise's house since 9 that morning, helping set up for the family barbecue. The smell of mesquite smoke mixed with chlorine from the backyard pool. Ice clinked against glasses on the patio table, condensation running down the sides. I had brought Denise's favorite coleslaw, made from scratch. I spent 2 hours on it that morning, chopping cabbage and carrots, mixing the dressing just the way she liked it. Vinegar sharp, a little sweet, plenty of black pepper. I wore the dark blue polo shirt they had given me for my birthday. I had even cleaned my truck inside and out before driving over, wiping the dashboard until it shined, vacuuming every corner. Everything had to be perfect. With them, it always had to be perfect. By 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I thought I had finally made it. Tiffany's brother Lionel was in the yard, throwing a football with my brother Leon's boys. Kids splashed in the pool, shouting and laughing. Charles and I stood by the grill talking about his latest real estate project, a small development on the north side of town. For the first time, I felt like I belonged, like I was not just the guy Tiffany had married, but part of the family. Then Denise asked the question. We were all sitting under the covered patio, the adults relaxing while the kids played, and the sun slid a little lower in the sky. Denise smiled at Tiffany and me, her voice light and hopeful. She said, "So when are you two giving us grandchildren? Leon's boys need cousins to run around with." I saw Tiffany tense. It was subtle, just a tightness around her mouth and a tiny shift in her shoulders, but I knew it. We had been having this conversation privately for 2 years. I wanted children. She kept saying not yet. When she made senior analyst. When we had more savings. When the timing was better. Always something. I started to answer. I said, "Well, we have actually been." Tiffany cut me off. She did it with a laugh, gesturing at me with her wine glass like she had just delivered a punchline she had been saving all afternoon. She said, "Not with this one." She took another sip and added, "Maybe if I find someone who actually has ambition." The words hung in the hot air like smoke that would not move. Complete silence fell over the patio. Charles's hand froze halfway, setting down his beer. Denise's smile died on her face. Lionel choked on his drink. Even the kids in the pool suddenly sounded too loud, their laughter out of place against the quiet at the table. I felt something like ice water run down my spine despite the heat. For years of showing up early to help Charles with his projects. For years of bringing Denise books she mentioned wanted to read. For years of being polite to Tiffany's condescending friends. For years of proving I was good enough. And in 10 seconds, she told everyone I was not. I set down my beer, an amber ale Charles had handed me an hour earlier, smiling like he was happy I was there. I stood slowly, wiped my hands on my jeans, then looked directly at Denise and Charles, not at Tiffany. My voice came out steady and quiet, steadier than I felt. I said, "You are right. Someone else will give you those grandchildren." I turned and walked through the house. I walked past the kitchen where I had helped Denise prep food that morning, past the family photos on the wall, including our wedding picture. My own face looked back at me from the frame, smiling beside Tiffany in her white dress. It felt like I was looking at a stranger. I stepped through the front door. My keys were in the ceramic bowl by the entrance, the one I had made in a pottery class and given them for Christmas. I grabbed the keys and headed toward my truck. I heard footsteps behind me on the driveway. Charles caught up just as I reached the driver's side door. His hand landed on my shoulder, firm but gentle. "Son, wait," Charles said. His voice was rough, like he had swallowed smoke. I turned and saw genuine distress in his eyes. This man had become a father figure to me, someone I respected deeply. But his daughter had just made her position clear. I said, "I'm not your son anymore. But I respect you too much to make a scene at your home. Tell Tiffany her things will be on the porch." Through the living room window, I could see Denise gripping Tiffany's arm, her face drained of color. Tiffany just looked annoyed, like I was overreacting, like she had made an ordinary joke that I had taken far too seriously. I backed out of the driveway carefully, still respectful even in crisis, checking my mirrors, waiting for a car to pass before I pulled into the street. In my rearview mirror, Charles stood with his hands on his hips, watching me leave. Tiffany came out the front door, her phone already in her hand. I drove away from 4 years of Sunday dinners, holiday celebrations, and patient bridge building, and I felt nothing but clarity. It was not anger, not yet, just a sharp, focused understanding that something fundamental had broken. Tiffany arrived at our apartment in Missouri City 45 minutes later. We rented a second-floor unit in a complex with a pool view that we almost never used. I was already separating our belongings, moving piles of clothes, dishes, and books in neat stacks on the living room floor. I heard her footsteps on the stairs, fast and heavy. She still wore the sunny yellow sundress from the barbecue. The door opened without a knock. She stormed inside and dropped her purse on the couch. "That was incredibly dramatic," Tiffany said. Her voice was sharp, cutting into the room. "You embarrassed me in front of my entire family." I looked up from the duffel bag I was packing. "I embarrassed you?" I asked. "It was a joke, Terrell," she said. "God, can you not take a joke?" I really looked at her then. Not as my wife, not as the woman I'd spent 4 years trying to keep happy, but as the person who had just humiliated me in front of the people whose respect I had worked so hard to earn. "Which part was a joke?" I asked. "Then not with this one part, or the someone with actual ambition part." Tiffany rolled her eyes and crossed her arms. "You were being sensitive. Everyone knew I was kidding." "Your mother's face going white," I said. "That is how people look when they know someone is not kidding." She sighed, impatient and frustrated. "Fine. I am sorry you could not handle my sense of humor." I went back to packing my duffel bag, folding shirts, lining up socks. Each movement felt deliberate. "I can handle your humor," I said. "What I cannot handle is being humiliated in front of people I have spent 4 years trying to earn respect from." "So what?" she asked. "You were just leaving over one comment." "No," I said. "I am leaving because you meant it. You said it out loud today, but you have been thinking it for a while." She looked at the half-packed bag. Her voice dropped. "Where are you going to go?" "Leon's place," I said. "I will be back Tuesday for the rest of my things." I walked out. I did not argue. I did not shout. I did not slam the door. I just left. 4 years of proving myself, and in 10 seconds she told everyone what she really thought, that I was not good enough. Leon lived in Pearland with his wife, Raquel, and their 2 boys. When I showed up at his door that night, he opened it, took one look at my face, and stepped aside without asking a question. He handed me a beer and said, "Guest room is yours as long as you need it." Raquel was more direct. She sat next to me on the couch while Leon took the boys to their room. "What happened?" she asked. "And do I need to go fight someone?" I told them the story word for word. I repeated Tiffany's exact sentence, the laughter, the gesture with the wine glass. By the time I finished, Raquel's jaw was tight. "She said that in front of her parents?" Raquel asked, out loud, in that tone. "She did," I said. "Charles chased me down the driveway, calling me son." I told him I was not his son anymore. Leon shook his head slowly. "How did he take that?" he asked. "He looked heartbroken," I said. "And the worst part is, I believe he really does think of me as a son. But she does not." The next morning, my phone started buzzing before I even got out of bed. Tiffany had sent 47 text messages overnight. At first, they were angry. "This is ridiculous. You made me look bad." Then they turned pleading. "We need to talk. Please answer me." Finally, she wrote, "My dad wants to call you." I responded once. I typed, "I have nothing to say right now," and put the phone face down on the nightstand. Tuesday afternoon, I went back to the apartment with Leon. I did not want to be alone in the space where everything still smelled like us. Tiffany was at work. I took only what was clearly mine. Clothes, tools, my favorite mug, the books I had bought. I left our wedding photos in their frames on the walls, but I took the toolbox Charles had given me for Christmas, a heavy craftsman set with 270 pieces. Inside, under the lid, there was an inscription, "To my son-in-law, for building your future. Charles." That inscription hurt now, but I had earned that toolbox. It was mine. Wednesday evening, Charles called. I did not answer, but I listened to the voicemail as soon as it came through. "Terrell, it is Charles," his voice said, low and strained. "Listen, I do not know what to say except I am sorry. What Tiffany said was wrong. There is no excuse. Denise is furious with her. I considered you family. I still do. Please call me back. I saved the voicemail. I did not return the call. He still thought of me as family. His daughter did not. Thursday, I canceled the family vacation we had planned. It was a trip to Miami Beach in August. The reservation was in my name. I had put down $1,200. The hotel refunded $800. Tiffany found out when Denise mentioned looking forward to the trip. A few hours later, Tiffany texted me, "You canceled Miami? That was for all of us." I replied, "I am not family, remember?" Over lunch that day, Leon asked, "Are you divorcing her?" We sat at a small barbecue spot near his job, the smell of smoked meat thick in the air. I stared at my plate for a long moment. "I do not know yet," I said, "but I know I am not going back to being her punchline." "She has called Raquel 3 times asking if you are okay," Leon said. "I'm better than I have been in months," I answered. Leon studied me for a moment, his eyes narrowing like he was checking if I was telling the truth. "You do seem lighter somehow," he said. 3 weeks in, I met with a divorce attorney. His office was in a glassy downtown building, 15th floor, overlooking the city. His name was Harold Pierce, a man in his 50s with a calm, straightforward manner and a desk that held more files than decoration. He laid out the situation. Marriage of 4 years in Texas, community property state, no children, rental apartment, joint checking account with $8,400, separate retirement accounts, and individual car loans. "If you are certain about divorce," he said, "file first. It sets the tone and gives us a clear starting point." "I am not certain about divorce yet," I told him, "but I am certain about respect." Harold nodded. "Then make moves that show you are serious. Separate your finances. Establish residency elsewhere. Document everything. If you decide later to file, we will be ready." The consultation cost $350. Filing would be $5,000 if I proceeded. I paid the fee and took the packet of paperwork he handed me. That Wednesday, I opened an individual checking account at a Chase branch near Leon's house. I transferred exactly half from our joint Wells Fargo account, $4,200. In the memo line, I wrote, "Separated finances as of July 22nd. Remaining balance is yours. Terrell." I updated my direct deposit information at work, so my next paycheck would go to the new account. I kept the joint account open, but stopped contributing. Thursday evening, Denise showed up at Leon's house. Raquel let her in but stayed in the living room with us, sitting on the edge of the armchair like she was ready to step between us if things went badly. Denise looked tired. There were faint shadows under her eyes that had not been there before. She held the glass of water Raquel had given her, but barely touched it. "I need to apologize to you," Denise said. "You did not do anything wrong," I said. "You were sitting there like everyone else." "I raised her," Denise said. Her voice shook slightly. "Somewhere along the way, she learned it was acceptable to treat people she claims to love like that. I failed as a mother." "Denise," I said softly. "You did not." "Let me finish," she said. "What she said was cruel. It was disrespectful to you, to us, to the concept of marriage itself. Charles and I have been married 34 years. We have had hard times, but I have never publicly humiliated him the way she humiliated you." I swallow hard. "I appreciate you saying that," I said. "I'm not saying it for appreciation," she replied. "I'm saying it because it is true. You have been nothing but respectful and kind to our family. You show up. You help. You remember birthdays. You brought me that book on behavioral economics just because I mentioned it once in passing. I wanted you to like me," I admitted. "We do like you," Denise said. "We love you. That is why watching you walk away broke my heart." But I understood it. She set down the water glass and clasped her hands tightly. "What can I do?" she asked. "Nothing," I said. "This is between Tiffany and me. She does not understand why you will not talk to her," Denise said. "Because talking requires respect," I answered. "And she made it clear she does not respect me." "She does," Denise said quickly, then stopped. She took a breath. "She has always used humor as a shield." "That was not humor," I said. "That was honesty dressed up as a joke." Denise was quiet for a moment. "Terrell, can I ask you something? Be honest with me." "Of course," I said. "Did you think I was one of the people who believed you were not good enough for her?" Denise asked. I hesitated, then nodded. "In the beginning, yes. I noticed every question about my job, every little comment about Tiffany's degree." Denise took a long breath. "In the beginning, I did worry she was settling," she said. "She has her master's degree. You did not finish college. She makes $95,000. You make $52,000. On paper, I had concerns. And now, I asked. Now I know that numbers do not show character, she said. You are the first person to offer help. You are reliable. You are kind. You treat her better than she treats you. And I am ashamed I ever judged you on a salary. Thank you for being honest, I said quietly. Will you give her another chance? Denise asked. I looked at my hands. The calluses from my construction job had grown rougher lately, my work more intense as I tried to keep my mind occupied. I do not know yet, I said. Denise left me her private cell number, written in neat script on a small notepad page. She told me to call if I needed anything, for any reason. Then she hugged me tightly before she left, holding on a little longer than usual. Friday of that same week, I took off my wedding ring. I sat on the edge of the bed in Leon's guest room, twisting it around my finger, staring at the pale, tan line underneath. Then I slipped it off and placed it in a small envelope along with a note. The note read, Until you can treat me with respect in public, I will not wear the symbol of our marriage. I addressed the envelope, mailed it to Tiffany, and tried not to look at my bare hand for the rest of the day. Week 4, Tiffany started showing up at Leon's house. The first time I was not home. Leon told me about it later. She came by looking for you, he said. I opened the door, and she tried to walk right in. I told her you were not here and that she needed to call you, not me. She got mad and left. The second time was a Thursday evening. I had just gotten home from work, my clothes still dusty from the construction site. Leon's boys were in the backyard chasing each other with water guns. The sun was dropping, and for once the heat felt almost bearable. Tiffany stood in the driveway, still in her work clothes, a fitted blazer over a blouse. Tears had streaked through her makeup, leaving faint lines on her cheeks. Her car engine hummed softly where it idled at the curb with the air conditioning running. You sent back your ring, Tiffany said when I walked up. I did, I said. What does that mean? She asked. It means exactly what the note said, I replied. I will not wear the symbol of something that does not come with respect. This is insane, she said. One comment, and you have blown up our entire marriage. One comment in front of your entire family, I said. One comment that told everyone what you really think of me. I have apologized, Tiffany said. I have texted you 100 times. You have said you were sorry I took it the wrong way, I said. That is not an apology. She threw up her hands. What do you want from me, Terrell? I want you to understand that respect is not optional, I said. I want you to understand that I am not your backup plan or your safety net while you wait for someone with more ambition. I did not mean it like that, she said quickly. Then how did you mean it? I asked. Explain the joke to me. Silence settled between us. She opened her mouth, closed it, tried again. I did not think, she said finally. That is the problem, I said. You did not think about how it would make me feel. You did not think about the 4 years I have spent trying to be good enough for your family. You did not think about me at all. She got defensive. You are not perfect either, Tiffany said. You work too much. You are always tired. You never want to go out with my friends. You just want to stay home or help my dad build things. You are right, I said. I'm not perfect, but I have never humiliated you in public. I have never made you feel like you were not good enough. She stared at me, her eyes wet. So what happens now? She asked. I do not know, I said. But I know I'm not coming back until something fundamental changes. 5 weeks in, I met with the apartment management at our old complex. I sat in the leasing office under bright fluorescent lights and explained the situation to the manager, a woman who had seen too many couples sit in those chairs with similar stories. I wanted my name off the lease. We had 3 months remaining. The manager was sympathetic but firm. Both parties needed to agree, or someone had to pay the buyout fee, $2,400. I paid it. I filed the paperwork, signed my name, and walked out of the office with a copy of the release. My name would come off the lease effective at the end of the month. I did not tell Tiffany yet. Wednesday of that week, Charles texted me. Can we meet? Just us. After a pause, I agreed. We met for coffee at a small shop downtown early the next morning. He was already there when I arrived, sitting at a corner table with 2 cups in front of him. He stood when I approached. Thank you for meeting me, Charles said. Of course, I replied. You said you wanted to talk. I owe you an apology too, he said, wrapping his hand around his cup. I should have said something right then at the barbecue. I should have stood up for you. You chased me down the driveway, I said. You tried. Only after you were already leaving, Charles said. I should have spoken the moment those words came out of her mouth. What would you have said? I asked. He paused, thinking. That she was wrong, he said quietly. That you were a good man. That she was lucky to have you. Do you believe that? I asked. I do now, he said. I will be honest with you, Terrell. When Tiffany first brought you home, I had my doubts. You seemed young, a little unfocused. But over these 4 years, you have shown up in ways that surprised me. I just want to be part of the family, I said. You were, Charles said. You are. That is what hurts the most about all of this. He leaned forward. I'm going to tell you something I have only told Denise, he said. Last year, when we were building that deck together, remember? The weekend project that turned into 2 weeks, I said, smiling faintly at the memory of long, sweaty days, measuring boards on his back patio. That Saturday night, Charles said, Denise told me, that man works harder than half the people in your office. She was right. You measure twice, cut once. You ask questions. You cared about doing it right. I enjoyed it, I said. It felt good to build something that would last. I know you did, Charles said. That is when I knew you were going to be fine. Better than fine. And Tiffany, she did not appreciate what she had. Are you asking if I am filing for divorce? I asked. I am, he said. I met with a lawyer, I said. But I have not filed yet. What is holding you back? Charles asked. I stared out the window at the early morning traffic. Honestly, 4 years of history. And the fact that I did love her. Maybe I still do. Love is not always enough, Charles said. No, I said. It is not. What would it take for you to try again? He asked. A genuine understanding of what she did, I said. Not just an apology because she got called out. Real change. I told him then that I was moving out completely, that I had taken my name off the old lease yesterday. He nodded slowly, reached into his jacket, and pulled out an envelope. Take this, he said. What is it? I asked. Security deposit. First month's rent. Whatever you need, Charles said. I cannot let you start over with nothing. I cannot take your money, I said. You are not taking it, he said. I am giving it to you because you are still my son, even if Tiffany does not deserve to be your wife. My throat tightened. Charles, I said quietly. I mean it, he said, his eyes glossy. That girl broke my heart at that barbecue. But you handled it with more grace than most men would have. Let me do this. I took the envelope. $3,000 in cash. I did not take it because I needed it. Not really. I took it because he needed to give it. Friday, I toured a 1-bedroom apartment in a complex in Pasadena, on the east side of Houston. 3rd floor, small balcony, a view of a line of trees and the distant glow of the freeway at night. Smaller than what Tiffany and I had, but it felt like possibility. I signed the lease. Move-in date, August 1st. I used Charles's money for the deposit and first month's rent. When I walked out of the leasing office, keys in hand, it felt like freedom. Tiffany found out Monday evening. She showed up at Leon's house again. This time, I agreed to talk, but only outside on the driveway. The evening was cooling down to something close to bearable, the sky streaked orange and purple. Her car was running at the curb, the air conditioning humming. She had clearly been crying. Her mascara was smudged, and her shoulders slumped in a way I did not recognize. You are really moving out, Tiffany said. Like permanently. I already moved out, I said. Now I'm just getting my own place instead of staying with my brother. This is really happening, she said, like she had just realized the ground was not going back under her feet. What did you think was happening? I asked. I did not know, she said. I thought you would cool off, and we would talk, and we would figure it out. We are talking, I said. No, we are not, Tiffany said. You are just making all these decisions without me. You are closing accounts, moving, changing everything, and I'm not part of any of it. Like you made the decision to humiliate me without consulting me first, I said. She started crying harder, the tears coming in uneven bursts. These looked like real tears, not the tight, frustrated ones I had seen before when she was angry about being challenged. I did not think you would actually leave, she said. I did not think it was that serious. That is the problem, I said. You did not think. Everybody makes mistakes, she said. This was not a mistake, I said. Mistakes are accidents. This was a choice. You chose to make that comment. You chose those specific words. You chose to laugh while you said them. Do you know what the worst part is? I asked. What? She whispered. I spent 4 years trying to prove I was good enough, I said. 4 years of showing up early to help your dad. 4 years of bringing your mom books. 4 years of being polite to your friends, even when they made it clear they thought you married down. And just when I thought I had finally made it, that I was finally part of the family, you told everyone what you really thought, that I was temporary, that you were settling, that someone better was out there. That is not what I meant, Tiffany said quickly. Then what did you mean? I asked. Because that is what everyone heard. That is what your parents heard. That is what your brother heard. That is what I heard. She wiped her face with the back of her hand. What do I have to do? She asked. Tell me. I will do it. I do not know, I said. But whatever it is not a quick fix. You do not rebuild trust with an apology. You rebuild it with time and change behavior. How much time? She asked. As much as it takes, I said. Are you seeing someone else? She asked suddenly. I let out a short, humorless laugh. No, I said. But I am seeing myself clearly for the first time in years. She blinked, taking that in. My dad gave you money, she said. He will not even take my calls lately, but he gives you money. What am I supposed to do with that? Maybe let me tell you something, I said, that your father recognizes respect when he sees it, that he knows who showed it and who did not. Week 6, Thursday, I closed our joint credit card. It had been used for household expenses, groceries, gas, little things that added up. There was $1,847 remaining on the balance. I split it evenly. I paid my half, $923.50, then sent Tiffany a screenshot with a message. My half is paid. Close the account or transfer it to your name. Your choice. She replied, This is really over, is it not? I typed back, That is up to you, and put my phone away. Saturday, Leon helped me move into the Pasadena apartment. His boys carry in light boxes and made a game out of who could stack them the highest. Raquel brought housewarming gifts, a set of dishes, a coffee maker, simple curtains. The furniture was minimal at first. I had a borrowed couch from Leon, an air mattress for the first night, and a single lamp in the living room. The next day, I bought a queen mattress and a modest frame. Setting up the apartment felt strangely therapeutic. Every item I unpacked was mine, not ours. Mine. My mugs, my tools, my shirts, my books, my choices. Sunday afternoon, Tiffany showed up at the new place. She had gotten the address from the old apartment paperwork. The doorbell rang while I was on the floor assembling an IKEA bookshelf, boards and screws spread out around me like a puzzle. She pushed the door open as soon as I unlocked it, stepping inside without waiting to be invited. She looked around slowly, taking in the bare walls and the boxes stacked against them. So this is it, she said. This is your new life without me. How did you get this address? I asked. Does it matter? She said. You did not give it to me, obviously. I did not give it to you for a reason, I said. She scanned the room again. 1 bedroom, no dining room, she said. You gave up our apartment for this. It is not our apartment anymore, I said. And yes, I chose this. This is pathetic, she said quietly. You should leave, I said. My voice was calm, but my hands tightened around the edge of a bookshelf plank. Why, she asked. Because you have moved on? Because you are doing so great without me. Her tone turned bitter. You know what I think? I think you're being a child. I think you're punishing me, so you can feel powerful. I'm not punishing you, I said. I am protecting myself. From what? She demanded. One comment. I finally raised my voice. From being disrespected, I said. From being treated like I am not good enough. From spending the rest of my life wondering when you will find someone with more ambition and leave me. She stepped back like the words had hit her. I would not have left you, she said softly. But you thought about it, I said. That is what that comment was. That was you telling everyone you were keeping your options open. She sagged against the wall. Fine, she said quietly. You want the truth? Yes, I said. I do. I have wondered if I settled, Tiffany said. You do not have a degree. You are not climbing any corporate ladder. My friends ask why I am with someone who works in construction. My colleagues at the office do not understand why I did not marry someone on my level. And sometimes I wonder if they are right. There it is, I said. What? She asked. The honesty, I said. That is all I ever wanted. Not the lie that it was just a joke. The actual truth. I did not mean, she started. You didn't mean it, I said. And now we both know where we stand. You want to know something? I asked after a moment. I'm glad you said it. What? She asked, genuinely confused. That comment at the barbecue hurt like hell, I said. But it woke me up. It showed me that I have been trying to earn the approval of someone who is never going to give it. Because in your eyes, I will never be enough. My salary will never be high enough. My lack of degree will always be a mark against me. I will always be the man you settled for. That is not fair, Tiffany said. I love you. Is it not? I asked. You just admitted it. You wonder if your friends are right. You question why you are with me. You think you married down. I'm not ashamed of you, she said desperately. Really? I asked. Then why did you make that joke? Why did you need to make your family laugh at my expense? Why did you choose that moment to remind everyone that I am temporary? She broke down completely then, sliding down the wall until she was sitting on the floor, her shoulders shaking. It was not about you, she said through tears. It was about the pressure. What pressure? I asked. My mom asks every holiday about children, she said. My dad keeps talking about legacy. My friends are all having babies and buying houses. And I'm still in a rental with someone who... Say it, I said. Finish the sentence. With someone people do not understand, she whispered. Someone who does not look impressive on paper. So you try to look impressive at my expense, I said. She covered her face with her hands. I need you to tell me what to do, she said. Tell me how to fix this. There is no quick fix, I said. You cannot apologize your way out of revealing who you really are. You showed me that when things get uncomfortable, you throw me under the bus. You showed me that my worth to you is conditional. You show me that after 4 years, I'm still on trial. I do not know how to make this right, she whispered. Then do not, I said. Just leave. She left crying. I sat on my living room floor surrounded by half-assembled furniture, exhausted but relieved. The truth was out. Finally. Monday morning, I call Harold. I am ready to file, I said. Are you certain? He asked. She showed up at my apartment, I said. She finally told the truth. She thinks she's settled. She is embarrassed that I do not have a degree. She is embarrassed when her friends ask about me. Harold was quiet for a moment. That is painful, he said. I am sorry. Do not be, I said. I would rather know the truth than keep pretending. Come in Friday, he said. We will start the paperwork. Wednesday evening, Leon came over with a 6-pack of beer. We sat in my sparse living room, the television off, a small lamp casting a warm circle of light. You seem different, Leon said. Different how? I asked. Lighter, he said. Sadder, but lighter. I know what you mean, I said. It is like I've been carrying this weight of trying to be enough. And now that I have dropped it, everything feels different. You're filing? He asked. Friday, I said. How do you feel about it? Leon asked. Like I am doing what I should have done the moment she said those words. I said. 9 weeks after the barbecue, Tiffany was served divorce papers at work. A process server showed up at her investment firm downtown and handed her the envelope while she sat at her desk. The papers cited irretrievable breakdown and irreconcilable differences, division of debts, no spousal support requested. It was as clean as a divorce could be on paper. Tuesday evening, Tiffany called. For the first time in weeks, I answered. You actually filed, she said. Her voice sounded smaller than I remembered. I told you I would, I said. I did not believe you, she said. That has been the problem, I said. You never believed I would stand up for myself. Is there any chance? She began. No, I said. I have heard enough. I heard you at the barbecue. I heard you at my apartment. I heard the truth. That is enough. Thursday, Denise called. I heard you filed, she said. I did, I said. I cannot say I am surprised, she said. I'm disappointed, but not surprised. I'm sorry it came to this. Do not be sorry, I said. Tiffany did this. She broke something that did not need to be broken. I appreciate everything you and Charles did for me. I added. Terrell, listen to me, Denise said. You're going to be fine. Better than fine. Some woman out there is going to appreciate what my daughter could not see. Thank you, I said. Can I ask you something? Of course, she said. If she changed, really changed, would you want me to reconsider? I asked. Denise was quiet for a long moment. I do not know, she said finally. But it does not matter what I want. What matters is what you can live with. I do not think she can change who she is at her core, I said. I think she will always believe she settled. And I deserve someone who knows they won. Month 4. We had our mediation meeting. The 60-day waiting period had passed. The split was straightforward. No shared assets beyond the cars we already owned separately. Tiffany kept the apartment until the lease ended. I kept my place. In week 2 of month 4, Charles asked me to lunch again. Same coffee shop. Same corner table. I'm not here to plead Tiffany's case, Charles said as soon as we sat down. Good, I said, because I would not listen. I am here to tell you that she is different, he said. I do not know if it matters to you, but she is genuinely different. People do not change, I said. Some do, he said. Some do when they lose something they cannot replace. He told me what she had been doing. Tiffany had quit her job at the investment firm, the one where she was embarrassed by my work. She had taken a position at Habitat for Humanity, working with people building homes. It came with about a 30% pay cut, but she did it anyway. She told Denise, Charles said, that she spent 4 years with a man who helped people build things, and she was embarrassed because he did not have a title. Now she is literally helping people build homes. She said maybe now she will understand what mattered. She is in therapy twice a week, he added. She is not dated. She is working on herself. I'm glad she is figuring herself out, I said. But that does not change what happened. I know, Charles said. I just wanted you to know that if you ever wonder whether she understood, she did. Too late, but she did. 5 months in, we finalized a divorce at the Harris County Family Court. Both of us stood in the courtroom with our attorneys while the judge went through the standard questions, her tone neutral and practiced. The process was cold, procedural. Our marriage was reduced to numbers and signatures and a few sentences in legal language. The judge granted dissolution, effective immediately. In the hallway outside the courtroom, Tiffany caught up to me. Can we talk? She asked. Just 5 minutes. My attorney shook his head slightly, but I said, 5 minutes, and stepped a few feet away with her. Tiffany looked different. No makeup. Simple clothes. None of the polished, confident image she had always kept up before. Her eyes were red, but her voice was steady. I know it is too late, she said. I know that. I just want you to know that I understand now what I did and why it was unforgivable. All right, I said. I hear you. I spent 4 years with someone who showed up, she said. Someone who helped, who cared, who tried to connect with my family. And I could not see it because I was too busy comparing you to some imaginary standard I got from people who do not matter. I'm glad you figured that out, I said. I quit my job, she said. I am working at Habitat for Humanity now, building homes with people, getting my hands dirty. Every day I am out there, I think about how you would have loved this work. How you try to tell me that worth is not measured in salaries and titles. That is good, Tiffany, I said. I hope it makes you happy. It does not, she said softly. Because I lost you. I did not expect you to forgive me. I did not expect anything. I just needed you to know that you were right about all of it. I thought I settled, and I was wrong. So incredibly wrong. I appreciate you saying that, I said. Is there any universe where we could start over? She asked. Not now, not soon, but someday. I thought for a moment. I do not know, I said. But I do know that I cannot be with someone who is ashamed of me, even if they eventually realize they should not have been. Tiffany nodded slowly. Understood, she said. I hope you find someone who sees what I could not. I hope you find yourself, I said. We walked away in opposite directions down the hallway. For the first time in months, I felt peaceful. It was over. Really over. Month 6, I settled into my new life. My woodworking hobby expanded. I started with small things, cutting boards, shelves, picture frames. Then I built a coffee table from scratch using Charles's toolbox, the metal latches clicking open and shut as I chose each tool. I still work my regular construction job during the day, but having a creative outlet made the evenings feel different. I began spending more time with Leon's family again, coming over for dinner once a week, helping the boys with their homework, and teaching them how to sand wood without rushing. My relationship with Charles and Denise continued. We texted occasionally, small things, photos of a project, an article about housing, a picture of Denise holding a book I had recommended. Once every few weeks, we met for coffee or lunch. They never pushed me to reconsider Tiffany. They just treated me like family. I finished building a dining table for Leon's family, a solid oak piece with smooth, rounded edges so the boys would not hurt themselves. When we carried it into their dining room, the smell of fresh stains still faint in the air, Leon stepped back and whistled. This is incredible, Leon said. You made this with your own hands. I did, I said. I ran my fingers along the edge, feeling every hour of work in the grain. Raquel ran her hand over the surface. You are really talented, Terrell, she said. You could sell these. Leon's older son, Jalen, grabbed my arm. Uncle Terrell, will you teach me build stuff? He asked, his eyes bright. Absolutely, I said. We will start with a birdhouse, and if you do not rush, we will move up to something bigger. 6 months earlier, I had been standing in a backyard in Houston, thinking I had finally made it. I thought I had finally earned my place in a family that would always see me as less than. Then 4 words shattered that illusion. Not with this one. At the time, it felt like the end of the world. Now, standing in Leon's house, watching his son hold a sanding block with careful hands, I understood something else. Those 4 words had not been an ending. They had been a beginning. I spent my Saturdays at a local farmer's market, selling my woodwork at a small table beneath a white canopy, cutting boards lined up in neat rows. Small side tables leaned against the back of the booth. People wandered by, touching the smooth surfaces, asking questions. One afternoon, a woman stopped by my table and picked up a walnut cutting board. She inspected the edges, the finish, the heft of it in her hands. Did you make all of these? She asked. I did, I said. They are beautiful, she said. Real craftsmanship. You can see the care in the details. I smiled. Thank you, I said. She bought the cutting board. We chatted for a minute about how to care for the wood, how often to oil it. Then she walked away, and I realized something simple and important. Someone had just appreciated my work for what it was. Not my degree, not my salary, my actual skill and effort. Denise called me in week 3 of month 6. I just wanted to check on you, she said. How are you really? I am good, I said. Really good, actually. I am glad, she said. You deserve to be good. How is Tiffany? I asked. She is finding her way, Denise said. Still a habitat. Still in therapy. Still alone. She is quieter now. Less sure of herself, but more honest. I hope she figures it out, I said. Can I tell you something? Denise asked. Sure, I said. That day at the barbecue, when you walked away, she said, I knew we had lost you. But I also knew you were going to be all right. Because anyone with enough self-respect to walk away from disrespect is going to land on their feet. Thank you, Denise, I said. That means a lot. You will always be part of our family, Terrell, she said. Even if Tiffany is no longer part of yours. Week 4, month 6, I stood at my farmer's market table as the late morning sun warmed the pavement. People moved between booths carrying bags of produce and flowers. A light breeze lifted the edge of my canopy. A man stopped to examine one of my side tables. He ran his hand across the top, testing for rough spots. You do good work, he said. This is the kind of thing that lasts. That is the idea, I said. To build something that will still be here when the quick, cheap stuff falls apart. He nodded, thought for a minute, then bought the table. As I helped him load it into his trunk, I felt a steady calm in my chest. I was building something of my own now. My life, my work, my future. 6 months earlier, I had driven away from a family barbecue with nothing but a duffel bag, a toolbox, and the painful echo of 4 careless words in my ears. Now, I was hosting my own barbecue at my apartment complex's small courtyard. Leon's family came. Charles and Denise came, carrying a pan of macaroni and cheese and a homemade peach cobbler. The boys splashed in the small community pool while smoke from my grill drifted upward into the evening sky. We ate at a picnic table I had built myself, the wood still carrying a faint scent of stain. Charles complimented the workmanship, tapping the legs to test their strength. Denise asked for the coleslaw recipe, shaking her head at how long it had taken her to admit how much she liked mine. As the sun slid down and the air cooled, Jalen came over with a plate in his hand. Uncle Terrell, he said, when can we build that birdhouse? Next Saturday, I told him. Come by early. We will do it right. He nodded solemnly like we had just made a serious contract and ran off to play with his brother. I looked around the courtyard, at Leon laughing with Charles over some old story, at Denise talking with Raquel, at the boys chasing each other between the tables, at the grill I tended, the food I had seasoned, the table I had built. It hit me then, simple and clean. I had walked away from a place where I was tolerated, not appreciated. And somehow, in the space I cleared, respect had found me again, not as something I had to beg for, but as something that flowed naturally from the people who saw me clearly. The night settled in. Someone turned on the string lights above the courtyard. The boys begged for one more round in the pool. Raquel stacked plates. Charles handed me another beer, clinking the bottle lightly against mine. "I am proud of you," he said quietly. "Not just for the way you handled everything with Tiffany, but for the life you are building now." I looked at the man who still called me son, even though the legal tie that brought us together had been cut. "I'm proud of it too," I said. 6 months earlier, for words had torn open everything I thought I knew. Not with this one. They had forced me to stop measuring myself against a standard that never had anything to do with my character. They had forced me to see that being enough starts with believing it myself, not with convincing someone else. I stood there in the glow of the string lights, the smell of charcoal and peach cobbler in the air, the sound of my nephew's laughter echoing off the courtyard walls, and felt something steady settle inside me. I was done auditioning for a role in someone else's story. I was building my own now, one careful cut, one measured line, one solid piece at a time. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a powerful story drop.